What's up, teammates? Well, Monday's over, and Antonio Pierce still has his job. And if they were going to do it, they would have done it by now. Because if they were going to do it, they would have known that they were going to do it, and it would have been done as soon as possible. Because there's no need to wait around for it to happen if it's not going to happen. And it appears as though it's not going to happen, which is a good thing for all people involved. And it's not a good thing for Antonio Pierce haters, but you know, yeah, it's better off for the franchise in general, in my opinion, to keep trying to keep it steady, to keep Pierce and whatever he's got going. You know what I'm saying? I think now that Monday's over, the next step will be to talk to Patrick Graham and tell him that, okay, now you see where we stand and where we're going forward. How comfortable are you with staying now, knowing that Antonio Pierce is going to be your head coach? It's information that we couldn't necessarily put out there and give it to you earlier. But now that you see the way things are falling, Mr. Graham, what do you think? Would you stay around for another year? You know, hopefully he does. And, you know, he has to keep his options open. But I think he'll be more apt to stay with Antonio Pierce as a defensive coordinator as opposed to going to, somewhere else, another head coach for whatever reason. And if a head coach job is out there for him, well, then there's nothing we can do about that. So keeping Antonio Pierce keeps everything together, which keeps me happy because no one in the locker room, I believe, wanted to redo this all over again. I don't think anybody in that locker room was like, we had such a terrible season. I'm ready to go through what we did this season all over again with a different coach and just hope for better because I want Antonio Pierce out of here so bad. There's no way that was the sentiment going around. And anybody say it really, I would say at least 95%, right? Maybe there's somebody tripping on that, but for real, I don't see many of the players being like, I want them out or I'm leaving. I don't see that. And if they are like that, then they're gone. We'll see who that was or if that is anybody at all, which as an outsider looking in, I just couldn't see that really being the case. Why would it be? I mean, he's a good coach to the players. However it comes out to us, the players like him. You saw whenever they did the post game, this is the final game of the season. I know you guys are sad to see it go. How do you feel about your coach? And everybody had genuine, yeah, I love coach. I want him to stay, of course. No one came with that. It's not up to me. It's up to the front office. And, we'll see what they say. It was always just I want my coach back. So that part of the team is happy. If the fan base isn't completely happy, then so be it. But continuity is what we're looking for. And keeping Antonio Pierce, keeping Patrick Graham, keeping, hopefully, the Turner boys, really. They did a decent job. I don't profess to be the best offensive coordinator out there, you know what I'm saying? I think I know what could and should be done on most things and what a structure should look like. And from what I see, the structure that we've been running through the Turner boys works good. Works really well, actually. And that's when, the continuity comes together. Now, let's keep everybody where they are. Okay? Let's make no big changes at all. If there's some people that really aren't pulling their weight, of course, get them out of there. But I hope that they're, for the most part, are going to just try to run it straight back, whatever everybody they got. Try to build that continuity. It's because, like they say, they improve that 1%. That just chase that 1% of improvement every day, right? Just keep traveling up. And Now I was thinking about that when I was thinking about uh, what I said about Aiden yesterday. When I said, is he going to be able to catch up in time? If he's going to able to overcome those percentages in time for us to get to where we want to go. And then the question is, well, what is truly in time? Is in time in the next 2 years? Is it next 3 years? Sam Darnold took 6 years. And now they're expecting him to take someone somewhere within the next 3 to 4 years, right? He's supposed to be a franchise quarterback. He's supposed to at least take it to the playoffs, hopefully a deep run in the next 2 or 3 years. He's supposed to have that talent. But it took that long to get it out of him, or that situation, or whatever it was. It took that quick to happen. And here, we don't necessarily have to look for a click. We can start and develop those passing yardage or pass completion percentage points that I'm saying we need to pick up, or Aiden himself needs to pick up. That's not necessarily true. It's a team game. It's still a team game. And those percentages do need to be picked up. But it doesn't always have to be all on Aiden's accuracy to pick up. They're going to be learning the timing a little bit better. That's going to help with the percentages. He's going to understand his players' speed. He's going to know their tendencies a little bit better. That's going to improve the percentage points. They're going to understand to communicate with each other without really communicating. You know what I'm saying? Just being on that next level with each other through being together a while. And I realized that we focus so hard on the quarterback that we don't realize how important it is for the people around the quarterback to be able to work with the quarterback. Because there's such great quarterbacks out there. There's a few of them. There's not a whole lot of them. But they're out there that can just work with anybody. It doesn't matter who you have out there catching the ball. Or if they can find a way to get themselves open, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have to have everybody doing the perfect routes. Because he has Travis Kelce. So he and Kelce can communicate without communicating. And that's why he finds him open all the damn time, because they know each other. He knows where he wants to be. He knows how to save him. He knows what Patrick is able to do as far as throwing the ball, where he is and what he can and can't do, and what he'd prefer to do in each situation, because they know each other that well. And they've been playing with each other so long, right? That's how you get that continuity. And Aiden and Brock had Brock had a pretty good combination with anybody, but still, Aiden and Brock still work well together. Why don't we take some time to build that up? Aiden, admittedly, has improved. No one can deny that from game one to last game, even though we lost, it looks like a completely different Aiden O'Connell. I mean, the whole absolute statue thing is gone. The whole inability to maneuver the pocket, pardon me, I'm a little double cheap. But anyway, the whole inability to move in the pocket thing, we've seen that go down. The lack of ability to scramble, we've seen him scramble and pick up yards, decent chunk yards, making defenses at least have to understand that might be a chance, or let him forget that. Oh yeah, he might be able to do that too. Just pull it out every once in a while, maybe once every game, but he can do it. So with his ability, the way he's been developing, there's no reason to believe that he wouldn't continue to develop at a certain upswing. And Brock and Jacoby and Trey and whomever, and Big Mike, and whomever we can find running the ball in the backfield, If they can get 17 games together, let everybody get a season. Everybody. No bullshit this season. If we don't get Sador Sanders, or if we do, we'll figure that part out at the beginning of the season. I would rather us just run it back. Just run it all the way back with everybody. If we do it with Sador, then we do it with Sador, but make sure we run it right back. Because whoever we start next year, we got to start that quarterback from now on until he gets hurt. We can't let bad games have us keep flip-flopping the quarterback, because the team is not going to become cohesive if they got to keep flipping back and forth between the quarterback. So whoever we get, whoever we decide, let's just go with it. Okay? It's going to be tough because we got two young quarterbacks, and it's going to be hard for us to figure it out. But we have to find a way to figure out, this is that person. The other person has to either understand or just trade, whomever. We would never trade Sador Sanders. So if we go with Sador, somehow we'd probably have to get rid of Aiden, trade him, drop him, whatever, because if we just give the team to Sador Sanders straight out. But the team is looking for some continuity. And I think the team would be more receptive to Aiden coming back as a starter. Now, if Sador goes in and just destroys the camp, then of course there's nothing to say. But if it's too close to call again, one of those things, no one's been too impressive type talks, it has to be Aiden all the way. Like, if he doesn't blow us away and kill it in the preseason and in rookie training camp and all that stuff, if Sador doesn't kill it the whole time, all the time, we stick with Aiden. And we let Sador develop to the point where he's killing it all the time, every time. Okay? And we see if that cohesiveness comes over that year. And there's still no guarantee that we're going to get Sador Sanders. Now, I know my man, Bob, is all in on it. And I can believe him. I can trust him. But I can't fully, encapsulate the entirety of the situation until it comes to fruition. But with that being said, I'm going to function under the assumption that we won't get Sador Sanders. I think we're at 6. I forgot to look specifically, and I should have that information before I come up. It's my bad. But I do think we ended up getting the 6th pick. And with that, I'm pretty sure that means we're behind the Giants and behind Cleveland and probably behind Tennessee. Yeah, who else? Maybe it's the Jets in front of us. No, the Jets one. Anyway, I have to look up the lineup. I wish I had it so we could discuss it now, or I could discuss it with you, but I don't have that information. We'll get to it next time. With that being said, A.P.s still there, and we should do his best to keep the cohesion going with the team. And if that's Sador, then great. If that's Aiden, that's great. I'd rather it be Aiden just because I want some continuity. I don't want a quarterback controversy again like we had last year. But we can't have a quarterback going in there and stinking it up so bad that the season's over with, so we have to flip it again. I say we go in, it's Aiden's team to lose. And if Aiden's that bad and Sador's that good, then he'll lose the team. And that'll be just fine. And then when we start developing the continuity from there, then we know there's no going back. Just like when Aiden took over for Gardner. And maybe that'll be the situation for for next year. Maybe we do get Sador Sanders. Maybe do go through training camp where we say, oh, it's too close to call. And then we go out and give Aiden a job. We say Aiden starts. And we don't do the whole, we're going to guarantee him the first 3 games or first 4 games thing. We just say he's out there to play and this is game time. We'll see how it works. I don't think Aiden can stink it up as bad as Gardner Minshew did and make it so damn terrible that we need to pull in Sedeur in game 5. But who knows, right? I know Aiden won't be that bad. He's too close to being really good to be that damn bad. Now, I mean, he has to drop off a lot. A lot to be bad. He's a good quarterback, and his progression is faster. Well, not faster than I expected. You know what? He's progressing more than I thought he needed to. If that makes any sense. And it's going to get better the more time he has with his head coach, with his offensive coordinator, and with his wide receivers, and with Brock Bowers and Big Mike. So once they all get together, they need to all stay together and work with it together. And this year, they're just going to run it back. Concentrate on Sedeur versus Aiden. If that's the case, if it's anybody but Sedeur, then it's Aiden's job. Because then it's definitively Aiden's job, because it's really going to be a hard sell to say we're going to bring in some veteran from another team and give it to him, hands down, after you've gotten into a certain amount of trust in Aiden O'Connell. Which also kind of worries me. I don't believe. Well, we'll start with this. Antonio Pierce press conference. He said, just like I said from the very beginning, when he said, or when he was asked, when you say you wish you would go with your gut more, does that involve the quarterback situation? He said, uh-huh. He said, do you think you might have started something different? He said, well, so was Gardner Minshew your decision? He said, we decided on Gardner Minshew together, and that's how we went in. That's how we went into the season. When I felt the change was necessary, I changed it. But there you go. As I've been saying, Tom Telesco put his thumb on the scale. And he used the fact that AP was new and that Getsky were new to put a little bit more thumb on it. They had never been on the scale before. They're not exactly sure how it works. They trusted TT to do what he thought was best for the team. And what he thought was best for the team was to lose. So he told Pierce, let's put in Minshew. Getsky said, cool. Pierce said, I guess so. And they went forward with it. And Getsky convinced him to give him 4 games. Because he knew if he could get 1 or maybe 2 games, he could pull it out. He could stretch out some time for Minshew, and he could grab some losses before we throw in Aiden O'Connell. To see what Aiden O'Connell has. And if he saves the season, he saves the season. And if he loses, well, we have plenty of time to see what he has. And now we're off to the races because we know what he is, and he isn't enough. And we fell all the way down to the bottom, and now we're going to get Sedeur Sanders. The way things turned out, he didn't even need Aiden to have a poor performance because Aiden got hurt and he was out for, he started game 5, and he ended up playing 6 games. Anyway, he was out enough games, 4 or 5 games, to get more losses out of Minshew, get another loss out of Ritter in there, and here we are at pick 6. Not far from where we need to be to get Sedeur Sanders. If a package needs to be put together, I bet you we throw in that Devontae Adams pick just to make sure everybody sees us use that pick to make something of the team. Since Devontae went to a team that had aspirations and aspire to be just barely better than us with their record. So that's no green grass and jet green uniform for him. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying it's a funny situation. But it's been funny situations this whole season. And it was another funny thing about that situation with this press conference was when he said when I asked Antonio Pierce, what is it that you think uh, was one of the biggest needs for the team going forward? And he was like, it's obvious what position we need to help at the most, or something to that effect. And I was like, damn, that's kind of throwing Aiden under the bus a bit. I mean, maybe, I know there's a lot of people that would just say he's just keeping it 100, but be that as it may, that's still kind of, toss him under there. Or maybe he just meant that we needed help with our quarterback. Our team, or we had a shitty season because of the quarterback that we had playing, not necessarily because of our quarterback. I believe that's what he's saying, because he also later in the interview said, yeah, I wish I'd have started Aiden from the beginning of the season. So I don't think he's saying our problem is our quarterback sucks, but I wish I'd have started my starting quarterback. I believe he's just saying, I wish I would have went with my gut, which is something he's been saying more than a little bit. And now it finally came out, someone asked that deadly question, would you have started Gardner Minshew? And he said, no, I would not have. I would have went with my gut. So there we have it. He didn't go with his gut. We didn't get Aiden in there. TT put his thumb on there. The record we got is because of such. Nobody's blaming Antonio Pierce for that, because it's TT, it's the injuries, and it's a slew of other drama that could be involved into it. Oh, and the Minshew's turnovers like he was hoping for. And here we sit with the number 6 pick, Antonio Pierce, a team that, though we have serious injuries this year, we should be like really, really healthy next year, right? Because everybody should be putting their body together over this year, getting everything nice and stretched, and, getting your muscles lean and getting your body able to move. So everybody should be injury free, feeling fine and dandy next year when it comes around. We'll still be one of the youngest teams in the NFL. We'll have our talent back. We'll be, we'll probably be Shedeur Sanders. That's what it looks like. If Shedeur is truly better than Aiden and able to progress faster than Aiden, then great. And if Shedeur can do that, and he shows from the very beginning that, oh yeah, this is the business right here, and they start getting that, that cohesion with him, Brock, and Jacoby, and Big Mike and Trey, and they'll have all that time to get it together, to learn each other's speed, to learn each other's tendencies, to learn what each other likes, doesn't like, what ball placement each player likes. There's things that quarterbacks and wide receivers learn from each other, about each other, that help each other, and those things increase your completion percentages. Those things help minimize bad passes and bad turnovers, because you're not throwing balls that you're trying to force into an area to a player that's not really knowing how you like to do it. But if once they get together a little bit and they understand, like, yo, every time you get right there on somebody, I want you to box them out. I'm always going to throw it low and away. So be prepared to get down and get there every time that certain situation comes up. And that's continuity. And then the next time that situation comes up, they know how to beat it. And now they got another skill set. And that's how a team becomes good. They get a good players together and they develop them as a team, and then they're supposed to become a better team. Now, there's cogs that aren't fitting, so you got to get rid of them and an upgrade and regrade and finance and overhaul and rehaul. But the main pieces of the machine, if we keep those cogs right, that's how you build a championship team. And just because there are other teams that popped out the gate and did it, there's still a lot of other teams that developed their team and were able to become talented over time and take themselves to the championship game and get that ring. I mean, yeah, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs only took a couple of years, but damn, they got the best quarterback in the league with the best offensive mind to ever play freaking or ever coach football. So, that's just kind of going to happen, right? But there are other teams like, the Niners who just keep putting out good product because they got that cohesion, they got that setup. Even if it's not having a good quarterback, he has that team running to where it's a consistent team. And all we got to do is, like they do, find their identity, become a consistent team. And if we can make Aiden O'Connell or Shedeur Sanders that quarterback that can stay in the game or stay in the starting lineup, perform well enough to make it seem like, okay, we can keep going forward with this and start building something with those players together starting now, And this is everybody's second or rookie year, So we got a lot of people to come together to keep us young, to move forward. And in that time, we got to progress as a team. We have to progress as a unit, which meaning offensive unit and a defensive unit has to be able to cohese together and build the familiarity with each other. And that's what we need. And that's something that can develop. What can happen is that you get good ass players that all overlap and so dope that I do my job, and if you failing a little bit in your job, I got your back. That's all. With great linemen, they cover their block, and if somebody slip up, don't worry about it. I'm coming off my block, and I'm double team with you. But only that type of stuff comes from either super talented players or being together so long that you know each other's pluses and minuses, and you work together without communicating. And we can't do that now. We can develop that. And we will develop that. We just have to have the people to develop it with. I still believe Aiden is good enough to develop that with. Because Aiden O'Connell, we've understand now, is not as immobile as he's advertised, right? What Aiden O'Connell is, he's not a statue. Aiden O'Connell, in a certain sense, is a robot, okay? Because if you got a great offensive coordinator and you put Aiden O'Connell in there, you got business going. If you smart enough to know where to get the ball to and how to make those plays open up and get that receiver open, Aiden's going to hit that receiver more often than not. And once he gets more comfortable with that receiver who he's throwing the ball to, they're going to increase their percentage, completion percentage ratio, right? So with all of that coming around, with everyone working together, with keeping Pierce, with getting the newest superstar in Brock Bowers, with finding a quarterback who's good enough to be developed, right? Because Aiden's good enough to be developed. Shedeur's not just going to come in top notch, or maybe he is. Who knows? It doesn't seem that way right now, but he might come in tearing it up like CJ and Jaden Daniels, which would be fabulous for us, right? We'll see, though. But either way, if we have both those quarterbacks on our team, we know for sure we got two quarterbacks that are worth developing. And it's all about who develops faster, who starts with the highest floor, and who can go to the ceiling quickest. And that'll be the future of the Raiders. So let's see what happens. The draft is going to be exciting this year because we might have to move. We might have to make some deals. Tom might have to do something. Or we might just have to wait. I mean, 6 is not that far back. If that's exactly where we are. That's the last time I heard something was 6. So, the silver lining is, whether you like Aiden or not, he's guaranteed to be a decent backup. Okay? He's either the 32nd best quarterback in the league, which makes him the worst starter, or he's the 33rd quarterback in the league. It makes him the best quarterback on the bench. So, I don't think he's that far down as far as top quarterbacks in the league goes. But I do know that he is above or at 33. So, silver lining is we got a quarterback that can start. We might get another quarterback that can start. And then the race is on. And we see which one races furthest, the fastest, all the way out in the preseason. We take that one and we run with it. We get that continuity. We figure out who has the best cohesion with our receivers, who understands the offense best. And you know what? Not even offense is under. Who has the best cohesion with the receivers and who can produce the highest percentage completion. And that's really all there is to it. Like I said before in the last video, if we can get 5 to 7 percentage points in the completions, if you can get 1 less turnover or even a half less turnover, and 3.5 to 4 more points a game, with the defense that's going to come in and account for stopping the other team and holding them down to a manageable number, giving us some wiggle room to get some scores in there. And with a top defense like we should, because our defense was doing well the whole season, really. If you look at it, the defense was doing well until they Minshew turned it over too much and they got tired. And even later in the season, when everybody was hurt for the last 3 games, the defense performed pretty well. We got ate up by Justin Hubert, but it was all long balls, and because we couldn't get the pressure on them. It wasn't like they was tearing us up methodically. It was broken plays where the rookies got lost and the wide receivers popped open. So it wasn't a terrible game, but the rookies are rookies and they got took advantage of. That's what other teams are supposed to do. You take your veterans, you point them at rookies, and you get the veterans school the rookies up. And now that our rookies got some machismo up under them, that's not going to happen like that next year. And we're going to get our starters back. So we're going to be deeper next year because our backups have so much more experience. So we're going to be a much better team next year. Yes, now it's all about Antonio Pierce's coaching style, his game management, and his decision making to see if he goes with his gut and see how much better the season goes. And see if he understands timeouts, play call, situations, when and when not to go for it. You never go for it, by the way. Okay? Unless there's 2 minutes left in the end of the game. Okay? Or you're down and 2 minutes left in the game. You don't go for it on 4th, in my opinion. Ever. Keep the ball as deep in their zone as possible. That's, I guess, another story for another episode. This episode is the silver lining is we got the pick that's good enough to come and get two quarterbacks that are talented enough to start, and this we'll see how much higher they go. We'll see what our defense can do. We'll still have Brock Bowers, and hell, maybe we'll get a good running back in the second round. Maybe we'll get another wide receiver. We need some. I think we need a height speedster. We got we got our Swiss Army knife in Jacoby. Now we need somebody that's just a skill man, just 100% get on the ball, get it up there, get it down there. I really would like someone tall. I wish we had Brian Thomas Jr. from last year because that would be sweet. I don't know who or how we're going to get a big time number one receiver, if we even need that, because there's no guarantee that we need Jacoby to stay at 2. Maybe we could move Jacoby to 1 and Tucker to 2. Tucker's too small for that, though. So, anyway, we need a true wide receiver 1. We need one more baller at wide receiver because I don't think Trey could pull it off full time. He doesn't have the size. I've digressed and left the main subject. The main subject is Pierce is here. He wished he'd have started Aiden O'Connell, and it's all Tom Telesco's fault. And that's why Pierce isn't fired, because they knew this season was going to be trash from the onset. And that was the idea. That was the plan. It wasn't a tank. It was a setup. And it worked perfectly. Now, we still could get everything we want out of this season. We did, in Tom Telesco's eyes, the way it looked like it was shaped up to come through. So, whether it was painful to watch or not, it's still at the end kind of a good strategy. It wasn't a good season, but it was a good strategy. Shit, we getting Shedeur Sanders. But you know what I'm saying? So, don't be too upset at the draft. Just make sure we get Shedeur Sanders. And then everything should be fine from there. And it's right there. It's right there. We can get this one. We can get into the draft. We can find some great prospects. We can let Tom Telesco do what he did last time. We go through the draft and win the draft like we did last one. But you can't win them all. And the clouds get dark. Sometimes you need to look for the bright side. So you come to the silver lining. Guru out.